The Islamic Golden Age is kind of a myth. Actually, no, it is a myth. It is a myth. The vast majority of scholars, scientists, authors, mathematicians during the Islamic Golden Age were actually Iranian. Many of them were in fact fake Muslims. So they only pretended to be Muslim in order to stay alive and to, of course, not be murdered by their Muslim overlords. There's no such thing as the Islamic Golden Age. If anything, it should be called the Iranian Golden Age. I just find it absolutely ridiculous how the Arab Muslim colonizers are constantly trying to claim other cultures and other civilizations as their own. And, why are they trying to actively erase the identity of the scholars by just claiming that, they're all Muslim, right? For example, like when people are talking about Shakespeare, right? Instead of saying that Shakespeare was a British poet, imagine someone just saying, yeah, Shakespeare was a Christian poet and everything that he did was because of Christianity. Does that make any sense to you? No one talks about Shakespeare, the Christian poet. No one talks about Bach, the Christian composer, or Mozart, the Christian composer. They identify people by their nationality and where they were from. And yet, for some reason, when it comes to the Islamic Golden Age, first of all, they erase their identity. They never mention, that they were Persian. They basically say all this happened because of Islam, right? Okay, well, if the Islamic Golden Age happened because of Islam, why the hell are modern day countries that are governed by Sharia law 7th century Islamic hellholes? If Islam is what led to the Islamic Golden Age, why is Afghanistan such a hellhole? Why is Iran, which is now occupied by the Islamic Republic, a hellhole? So you have to think critically about these things. And the reason that the Islamic Golden Age happened early on is because that was the same time that they were conquering all these different peoples from different civilizations. Every civilization that they conquered and captured, they basically took their knowledge, took their scholars, forced everyone to become Muslim, and then they claimed all of that in the name of Islam. You have to think critically about these things. Unfortunately, history is always written by the victors. Kind of how they're rewriting history when it comes to the Crusades, right? You have these people just trying to make it seem as if the Crusades happened because the big bad Christians just decided to attack the Arab Muslim invaders. Very similar with the Islamic Golden Age. I'll give you one example. They like to say that a Muslim invented algebra, which is totally false. First of all, algebra originates from India, and then Al-Khwarizmi, who we call the father of modern day algebra, he was inspired by the Hindus, and then when he created modern day algebra, he did that despite being labeled as a Muslim, and in fact, he was Iranian. So the father of modern day algebra was Iranian, but you never hear about that. All they say is that he was Muslim. He was Muslim. It was a Muslim that did this, Muslim did that. Not true at all. That's just one example. And like I said, like 90% of the people involved in the Islamic Golden Age were Iranians and were from the Persian Empire. The Islamic Golden Age didn't happen because of Islam. It happened despite Islam, because that all used to be part of the Persian Empire. And then when the Arab Muslim invaders came and they conquered Persia, the vast majority of Iranians, right, in order to survive, they, pretend converted to Islam. Persia and Persians, now, Iran, we were conquered, but we were not colonized. So we kept our language, we kept our identity, we kept our culture, we kept all of that. The vast majority were just, pretend Muslims so that the Arab Muslim invaders would just, leave us alone. And yet, for some reason, the Arab Muslim colonizers, they like to go out and they like to talk about the Islamic Golden Age and how Islam did this and Islam did... No, it was not that whatsoever. You guys have no idea how frustrating it is for us Iranians when you have these these radical Muslims and they go out and they're like, oh, the Islamic Golden Age is, and then meanwhile I'm sitting there and I'm like, really? Because the Islamic Golden Age wouldn't exist without the Zoroastrians from Iran, who are actually the ones doing all of the inventions and all of the findings and everything like that, right? There you go. If anything, we should call it the Persian Golden Age.